Hello friends and welcome to Enterprise Architecture. Now, if you take a look, we are back playing Satisfactory after a very long time. It's been months since I played Satisfactory. The main reason is Update 8 came out and that broke pretty much all of our mods. Everything that I was using for my building and construction, all of my favorite mods were broken for a very long time. And some of them are unfortunately still broken, but we are playing a heavily modded version of Satisfactory this time around. I've added a boatload of mods above and beyond what we were playing through last time. This is really going to change how we play the game pretty significantly. We've got the farming mod, which I really loved, out of Satisfactory Plus in here. We've got all sorts of Mark upgrade machines, everything from Mark 2 through 4, I think this has in it, in this pack that I've put together. All sorts of extras in here, and a lot of quality of life updates that are just going to make this a lot more fun to play. The other thing I'm going to note here is I am going to be turning off the build cost. We're still going to play through the normal tiers of this game, but build cost, honestly, is just one of those things that I don't think is going to add anything to my gameplay here, just waiting for machines to process. So anything that's unlocked, we're going to consider that we can build it for all intents and purposes, as long as I can make the components therein. That should make this go a lot faster. Now, that's also the fact that Smart Mod isn't quite working yet, and we are missing the ability to use micromanage. That is totally missing from this pack because that has not been updated yet. So we're trying to balance out our speed and ability to build things and make things look nice, but the fact that things cost a lot is kind of problematic. So that's what we're doing today. And with no further ado, let's dive right in. All right, got no costs turned on there now. We also have the early map mod, but we don't have the map yet. So I need to get my bearings a little bit and figure out where we are. It looks like we're down by the river. Y'all who have been playing this game for a while will note that I've decided to start in the northern forest. Now, this is a little bit more of a challenging environment to start in, mainly because of, well, they say on the map there, elevation, right? When you're starting out, it's just a little bit harder to build things in a forest, right? So we're gonna have to build up here. Again, this is a major reason why the no building cost is gonna be a big deal for us, because we're gonna need to build a lot of platforms to get our initial factory up and running. Now, I remember vaguely here that there is a perfect spot for starting all the way to the north here. Yeah, this is about where we want to be. I have to figure out exactly where we are in relation to that, but we can take our readings here real quick and figure that out. So there, as I recall, are about 3 or 4 iron nodes over this way.
You are so lucky that you found this most valuable artifact.
Ah. Yeah, see, that's what I figured. Hearing that makes me know that I am pretty darn close. So if we keep walking in this direction here, I think we'll find that we're going to come up on those iron nodes. And conveniently enough, oh, there is also this crash site here. Now, enemies I have on passive because we are here to build and explore. We are not here to be in the business of having to fight monsters the whole time. I don't enjoy it so much. Y'all know that. So we are going to grab up everything we can from this crash site here. I don't think this crash site has a lot for us, but we're certainly going to try for it. And we're going to have to come back here, of course, to clear this out and actually open it up and get the hard drive inside. But we are going to come right around here and get a little closer. And as I was saying before I got so distracted, we are starting relatively close to where we had built our coal plant in the last playthrough in season 1 here. And here we are. Could this be one of the best kept secrets, I think, of best starting locations in the game? I think so. Maybe a lot of people have already talked about it, but I love this location. You've got 4 pure iron nodes right here. You've got a limestone node right up there on that ridge. You've got 2 copper nodes over here. You have, 3 or 4 coal nodes over off of this edge here down by this river, which means you also have water available down there. You have a pair of crystal nodes, quartz crystal right over here. This is the perfect starting location with anything you could want for your initial base. And you also have 3 drop pod locations right nearby. This is a perfect spot. So we are going to get started with setting up our initial base. We're just going to avoid the local fauna here that is probably super friendly, but you know, we're not sure. And we're just going to bop our hub down right here. Well, not on top of that bird, unfortunately. So I guess we're going to have to put it a little further back. There we go. Now we have skipped tier 1 entirely. We can start all the way, or excuse me, we've skipped tier 0. We can skip all the way to tier 1 immediately here. And that means we have a lot on our plate. So let's get started with our base building here. Now we have a lot of the resources we already need for base building. So let's go ahead and give it the plates, and we're not going to give it anything else just yet. And the reason is we do need to build a couple of our miners and whatnot to get started here. So let's go ahead and get our first couple of miners in place. We're going to try and skip over the hand cranked miners as much as we can. I'm going to go clear that node out here in just a second so that we can get that one set up as well. And the other thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and put our regular biomass burner down. Now I know I can use the ones that are on the actual hub, but I think that those produce less power, so I don't really want to do that. Okay, so this is going to get started here as soon as we tell it to take some leaves, and there we go, off to the races. I'm going to go clear out this limestone node real quick, and we'll go ahead and drop our miner on top of that, just like so. There we go. And do we have logistics yet for storage? Yeah, we have a storage container. Great. So we can start running this down here. Now, this is just going to be temporary because we need to get access to that limestone, but we're going to redo all of this momentarily as soon as we have enough that we can afford some assemblers and other things along the way. But for right now, I just want to get this a little closer to me. Let's go ahead and set ourselves up a storage container as well. Probably a couple of storage containers so that we can put all of our various ingredients in here. Let's go ahead and do this. And we're going to put another one right next to it. Oh, it doesn't look like it'll let me. There we go. And we're going to do a third one over here so that we can put our copper in this side. There we go. Great. So bringing all this together. Okay, so we've wired the limestone up, that's going to start producing, and now we're going to go over here and just repeat the same process with our 1 copper node over here. Again, there's a second one up there on that hill, but we're just going to take this lower one. For now, that's all we really need. Alright, copper online. Let's just bring our belts over and we will be good to go. Now I think maybe we should try, at least for a little while here, to see how far we can get with a no manual crafting run. I don't know if this is going to work out for us, but we are certainly going to try it real quick and see how far we can get with it. So to that end, let's go ahead and put down our smelters that we're going to need for that. Just like so. Again, this might not work out for us, just because it can be very time-consuming to wait for all of the machines to do all the crafting for us, but we're going to try. And so we're going to put our copper there, our iron ingots are going to come into here. Let's just give it this recipe. I don't know why smelters need recipes in the first place. I think that's a little weird, but it'll be fine. And let's see here. Oh, it looks like we are already maxed out on power lines here, so let's go ahead and put this down, and we're going to put this down and connect it back over to this. Okay, that should clear everything up pretty quickly. Now, I also went ahead and installed the mod that allows us to add infinite cables onto every machine. So basically you can daisy chain everything. And of course the name of that mod is daisy chain everything. So that is easy to remember. It just means that you can have, I think it's not infinite. I think you can set in the configuration how many you actually have connections off of every machine. But it does mean that instead of having to do one per machine, you can connect one onto this smelter, for instance, and then onto the next machine. Or even better yet, as you see I did with our assemblers, you can basically connect one to each of them and have it go through. So that works pretty darn well. Okay, so how's my biomass burner doing? Still looking pretty good. Do I have access to biomass leaves? I do. Okay, great. So I'm going to actually make another storage container here, and we're going to try and upgrade as quickly as possible to the biomass leaves. So let's get this into place here. There we go. And it looks like these angles are not working out for us. But again, early game, we can make a mess. There we go, just like that. So go ahead and give me another connector here off of this. There we go, to that, to that, to that. Okay, wonderful. Now, this one is going to be our biomass leaves. We have a lot of leaves here, so let's dump all those in there. And this is going to go into our first assembler. Our second assembler is getting iron, and it looks like rods are what I'm going to be short on for the immediate future. So let's go ahead and put rods in there. We of course know that concrete is going to be what we are going to use our limestone for. And then last but not least, oh, looks like that is too much power. Okay, well, we knew that was going to happen. I didn't expect it to happen this soon. No problem. Let's upgrade immediately. We're going to put a second biomass burner in place. We are going to connect these up. And I tell you what, do I have any? Yeah, I've already got biomass coming out of here, don't I? No. All right, well, we're going to put some leaves into this one as well. Or better yet, let's put the wood into this one and then turn back on our power grid. All right, back online and keeping up with capacity. No problem. Well, we will deal with that momentarily here, but let's get our biomass processing. There we go. We already have 10. That is enough to start the process here of swapping out for our biomass. There we go. Let's do that on both of these here. And then we're going to steal the leaves back and put them into this. Great. All right. So very shortly here, we're going to have access to our refined power as well. And that gives us an automatable biomass production or biomass burner. So that will make this a little bit smoother. In the meantime, we just need to keep an eye on things and make sure it doesn't break down. All right, so we just need a few more rods. We just need a little bit more concrete, and then we'll be ready to unlock our next tier, our first tier, the base building. All right, I think that is now enough concrete. We can submit that, and we can submit our rods, and there we go. Perfect. Now we are able to finally build foundations and ramps. This is going to be a major life improvement for us. Now the real base building begins. All right. So the next thing that we need to look at here, let's go back to our tier 1 options, is probably logistics. It's going to be really hard to do anything without logistics. Now, we've got plenty of copper wire. We've been scavenging all over for that. We almost have enough rods and plates. I set up another assembler here to deal with the plate situation for us. So that should be enough now for that. There we go. And now we just need to double check on our rod production. 41. Okay, that should be good for that as well. Now we do have the instant research mod, so all of this stuff is coming through. Oh, not quite enough rods. We're just going to wait another second. But that doesn't mean that we don't have to wait for all of these things to go through, go up into space, and come back down. All right, last of the rods. Punch it in. Great.
Milestone reached. Conveyor the productivity display.
Now, with just those two things, we can pretty much do all of our base building initial setup here with no other needs. So that's pretty great for us. I am going to come back here for refined power in a second, but the next thing that I want to do is the next tier of refined power. Where are you at? Refined power auto biomass. This is what we want. Now we can't do this yet until we do obstacle clearing to get our solid biofuel. So let's select that. Let's drop our cables in here. And we have mostly all of our screws. That does mean we need to set up another assembler real fast, just for screws. As soon as that guy gets out. Come on, dude. Move out of the way. Move out of the way. We're going to set that up. We're going to grab the rods out of here, and we will daisy chain up this and use this to make our screws. And then we just need to wait for the rest of our concrete to come in. We're almost there on that. Now, while we're waiting on those last few things for our biomass burners, we are going to go ahead and try and start setting up a bit more of our base here. And this here is really the secret. We have this whole forested region and it's really awkward to build in, but we have this massive valley here that we can build out over, and that's going to be the key. We're just going to bring all of our ingredients into that instead. So let's go ahead and see about setting this up. So we could design this on the grid here. I'm really tempted to. I think you all know that I like to make everything nice and neat. But in this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just go ahead and build it out over this side here. I'm going to try and line it up as best I can with this edge so it makes a nice smooth edge across this. So let's go ahead and do this like so. We're going to hold that in place and just check and make sure our edge looks pretty close to where we want it. That seems roughly how we want it. So let's go ahead and lock that in. Put one more down here. Okay, so this is going to be the entrance to our factory off of this side here. So we do need to go ahead and finish out this platform. Let me build myself a nice big platform real quick here. Alright, so it does look like our smart mod is still having a few issues. That's fine. Nothing we can't live without. We are just going to zoop this into place then instead. And pop that right over here. And this, of course, is going to be the start of our first little factory. So I think we're going to have several different sections of this factory. We're going to do one dedicated to our iron, one dedicated to our copper, and one dedicated to our limestone, per usual. Nothing too adventurous or weird. Alright, so first things first, we need to start thinking about setting up our smelters. Now, I think we're going to run all of our ingredients in from this side to start. This is really close up on us here with this miner, so I think we're going to go ahead and come in here for the actual entrance to the facility. We'll bring everything in around on this side and start putting our smelters in after this block. Let's go ahead and frame that out with some basic walls. We're not going to do all of the walls yet. We're just going to give ourselves the layout of it, and the reason for that is we don't have conveyor walls or door walls yet. So without actually being able to do any of the things like being able to get into the facility, that's somewhat problematic. All right, so smelters. One of our iron nodes is going to do 4 smelters because these are pure nodes. So we can go ahead and set these down here. Let's see here. Can I zoop these into place? Doesn't look like it wants to let me do that. I'm not sure why, but that's fine. We'll just go ahead and put these in manually, just like that. All right. We also don't have wall outlets yet, so let's go ahead and put our power pole down here for now. And again, we can daisy chain these out. So we can just do like this, which makes it much quicker and easier. All of these are, of course, going to be making our iron, just like that. And then we just copy and paste our settings. All right, so that is just going to be for one node. I'm going to go ahead and set up the logistics of the belts for this real quick. You all already probably know how this works, so I'm not going to do all of this on camera. Basically, we're just going to be using our belt logistics to put splitters down this side, and then we are going to put inserters down the, mergers down the other side. So let's see here. Does this work properly now? Nope, invalid aim. I don't know what's going on with our smart mod. That's fine. That's fine. We can live without it for now. All right, done and belted for one node. Looking pretty good. Now the output is coming out this side here, so I've got plenty of room to continue my expansion of this factory. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving this down here a little bit further out, and I think what we're gonna do is plan that we're gonna do this in stages out here. I've been doing a lot of vertical building before. I think that most of the other factories you all have seen me build have been vertical, where we'd go out of this factory and then up to the next level. And I do generally prefer to do vertical building, but for right now, we don't have any sort of ladders or ramps. Well, we have the basic ramps, but those aren't very efficient for getting up to various floors. So I tell you what, we are not going to do a vertical factory just yet. We are just going to lay out a nice wide and flat factory just like this. Okay, perfect. So I am going to split this belt as it's coming into this next room here. And let's go ahead and put up our temporary walls again so that we can kind of get a visual for how this is going to lay out. So we're going to put one here, we're going to give ourselves a gap, and we are going to give ourselves one here. And when I come into this one, I'm actually going to split this again because I want to do half rods and I want to do the other half into our plates, right? Plates, that's what they're called. Okay, so this comes in here, comes out of there, and then we can start splitting again this way. So let me get that laid out real quick, and I'm gonna go ahead and put our assemblers down over here. Excuse me, constructors. We do not have assemblers yet. Just like this-ish is what we're gonna do. How about that? Okay, so we should have 60 ingots, so plates, we're doing 15, so that is exactly half of our ingots. All right, so let me hook all this up, and then I'm gonna do the rods behind us. All right, and there we go. 5 minutes later, we have our finished factory. The first row here is our smelters. Second row is taking our iron ingots out of there and making our iron plates. Third row is iron rods with those iron ingots, and then the fourth row all the way down there, those final 3 machines, those are turning half of our iron rods into screws. That means 60 screws per minute that we're going to get out that end down there. So this is our iron production set up. Now with that and our limestone, we basically have everything we need for the early tier game. However, what is remaining is our copper, and we do need a proper limestone facility. Now I haven't turned this on, and I'm not going to hook that up yet until we have obstacle clearing and of course that next tier of refined power, because that's going to be really important for us to auto load into our factory. We don't want to do that manually. We do not want to have to keep adding a whole bunch of additional biofuel into our burners. We want that to be automated. So that's what we are doing here. There is all of our necessary ingredients for obstacle clearing. Great.
Milestone reached. Biofuel will ensure max.
And then the next thing that we need to do is go up to tier 2 and grab up our refined power biomass generator. So let's select this milestone. We have most of what we need. I'm going to need to make some biofuel real quick, and also I'm going to make ourselves the last of those iron rods. So I think those are coming in over here. Yeah, there's the iron rods that we need. We need to take some ingots out of this so that we can make plates out of them. Let's give me those. Okay. I'm going to give you half back. There's your refund. We're going to make the rest into our iron plates. There we go. And then, of course, the last thing to do here is we do need to make one of these to make solid biofuel. So let's go ahead and come back over. Where is it? Here. There's where our biomass is being made. We are going to take this and actually run it right smack over here into this awkward slot where nothing actually belongs. Give me everything out of there, go into here, and with this, we are going to turn this into solid biofuel. There we go. And this should be able to pop right off of another power line. Let's just do that. Great. So once we have our 10 biofuel, we will start doing that. We also are going to stop using our biomass in these the second we have any biofuel at all here of note. So I'm going to get the 10 first off of this for me, and then all the remaining is going to go into our burners, and we're going to knock this off. All right, there are our last 20 plates. It only took us about 2 minutes to get there, and then our 10 biofuel, pound that in, and perfect. Now we have our automated biofuel. Or automated biomass burner, I should say. Okay, that is a pretty good place for us here. Now, we do need to get Logistics Mark II unlocked as soon as humanly possible with our plates and whatnot that we need to make, our reinforced plates, because I need to be able to stack conveyor belts to expand this factory anymore. But before we do that, let's set ourselves up a really quick biofuel burner production, power production facility over here. Let's do this over here. So we are going to come back out over this void instead. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think that's going to be where the copper factory is going to go. So maybe the bio factory, the biofuel power generation, excuse me, will go right over here on this side. This edge of this factory should be fine, and we are running into the dirt here. So what I might actually do is go up a level with this. That might be a fun thing to do. So let's go ahead and finish this out real quick. We're just gonna go over to here with it. And then let's see here. How big do we need to go on top of this to be able to completely hide that? Is it going to be 2? Why is it not going on top? There we go. Is 2 enough? Yeah, 2 is enough to hide that. Great. There we go. And now we're getting some visual interest as well. Obviously, we can't do all of the great enterprisey architecture things that I normally love to do because we have not unlocked anything that is deco yet. We don't have any of those other concrete types of floors or anything like that yet, but those will come very soon. Don't you worry. That is high on my list. But for now, let's get our biomass automation going. I think we're going to start the row from this end where we have plenty of room already. We're going to do the usual thing. We're going to come over 1 square, and then let's go down to refine power and start dropping these off. Okay, so let's get this facing the right way here. Just like so. I'm going to do it against this edge. Now, I really should turn off collisions. Can I do that real quick? Let's see here. Gameplay. Automatic clearance separation. No, we don't want to do that. Okay, it doesn't look like I have it here, but I would really love clipping to not be on because look how wide these things are. They're just so chunky, y'all. I can barely fit 4 on here. It just takes up so much room. Okay, great. So, and then I fell off again. That's going to be up there, and we are going to need to probably put a little rampy guy to get up into that. A little rampity ramp. Let's put a 4 meter, like right here, off the top. There you go. Okay, easy ingress. And then the last thing that we need to do here is to set up the chain for this fuel production, right? So we are going to go ahead and go back to our 1 meter foundations like this. We're just going to put this here so that we can put down a couple of assemblers in a row. And I really should do it in the other direction, but I'm not worried about it right now. I just want to get this automated. We're going to clean all of this up once I clear out all of these other machines here, and then I'll use this space instead for it. So let's go ahead and come over just 2 clicks here, put that down. And you know what? We are going to clip a little bit here. That's going to have to be okay, and we're going to live with it. We're going to put this right here. Put our second constructor right here. Hopefully that encroaching is not so bad that it cares. Yeah, we're just going to have to come out and over a little bit, and that's going to be fine. We are going to live with it. We're not going to complain. There we go. That goes in there. And then let's just set up our splitters real quick. Splitters are set up. We put down our container that we are going to put our leaves in, and it looks like we put that too close. Let's just move that back just a little bit here. There we go. Perfect. And now all we have to do is load this thing up with leaves. So let's go back over here. We're going to grab up all of our leaves out of this, and then we are going to get this set up and going. And the second this has enough material that it's actually powering all of them, in that moment, that's when we are going to switch over our power. So let's go ahead and wire these up. And maybe this will be the second that we also tear down all of our existing iron factory also. Okay, so this is going to be our main power coming off of this. Let's just put down 1 line. No, I don't want the line there. What are you doing? Come on. Let's put the main line right here. With that, we are going to power this miner. With that, we are going to power this entire factory. There we go. So the second this gets up to speed, we should be good to go. Now, of course, what are we missing here? Yes, well, these don't have any power yet either, right? They need something to connect to. So let's just pull these off of... Yeah, you can come off there. That's still part of that network. All right, so these are going to start cranking out our solid biomass real soon here. There you go. Got the leaves. Biofuels coming out. I keep saying biofuel and biomass interchangeably. I apologize, y'all. I know some things. I remember some things about the game, but you're going to have to forgive that. All right, let's just wait a second for all of these lovely, lovely biscuits to get made. All right, our belts aren't balanced, but we are up and online. And as you can see here, we are cranking out the iron production. This is glorious. All of those wonderful, wonderful bits and bobs coming together over here and making all of our tidy little ingredients here. And within a few minutes, hopefully we will have Yeah, iron plates coming out, and very soon thereafter we are going to have iron rods coming out. Let's take a look here. Not yet, but there they come. First iron rods, and then these first iron rods are going to get split, and we're going to have our first iron screws. So, production line assembled. All right, now I'm going to go do exactly the same thing for our copper, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing for our limestone. So, I will be back in a boop. Also, while I'm doing this, did you all see these container screens mod that's in this that gives these lovely, lovely little screens that tells you how much is in each of these containers? It is just an absolute delight. I didn't have to place these at all like I normally do. It just automatically tells you and keeps track. That is a beautiful mod. Absolutely great little mod. Love it. Okay, back to the factoring. All right, and there is our refactored base. So again, all of our iron production over here going along nicely. We have a teeny tiny limestone plant over here, and it looks like we are backed up, so something is not right. Oh, no power, that's why, of course. Doesn't actually work unless you hook it up to power, like so. There we go. And now this will start cranking out our concrete for us. And then down below here you can see the massive copper works. Now copper, of course, 4 smelters. That's going to be 15 pieces of copper each, coming out of this machine that's giving us 60. See on that hill there, there's a second node that's pure as well. So that's going to be another 60. That, of course, then turns into 8 of these wire manufacturing pieces because we get 7.5 each, if I remember correctly. We're basically doubling the output of our copper there. So half of this copper wire has to go onto a separate belt, and that just becomes cables for us. So we've got 4 constructors here turning the 60 copper wire we're getting out on this side into cables. The other 60 copper wire goes into our storage. So this is getting a little backed up, but that should normalize pretty soon there because that should be exactly the production rate. So there we go, our optimized initial starter base. Okay, so the last thing we are going to do this episode is finish unlocking our Logistics Mark II as mentioned previously. We had picked up enough reinforced iron plates from crash sites along our way to this location that we can actually unlock this without having to manufacture them. So there we go, now we have those Mark II conveyor belts and lifts, and most importantly the stackable conveyor poles. That means we can radically optimize our layouts here for what we've got. Now, as we start thinking ahead to the future, we are going to have to start doing a few more things here. I am going to sign up for the resource sync bonus program here very soon. Actually, you know what? If I just go grab some more concrete, we can do that. Hold on. Yeah, we had enough limestone after all. We don't have to wait at all. We can just go ahead and plop these right in there and collect our rewards. Okay, so as I was saying, we are going to go ahead and use the awesome sink. But one thing I want to mention right now is when we build the awesome sink, we're going to build the awesome shop. We're not going to deal with the sink except for to deal with extra parts. So this might make a few of you unhappy, and I'm sorry, but I think a bunch of you have seen me play through these things before. I've unlocked everything in previous games, and sitting around for hours and waiting for enough tickets just to be able to get wall outlets, that's not my idea of fun. So I am going to 100% be cheating in at tickets to unlock pretty much everything in the shop. I just want to be upfront about that so nobody gets weird. And, you know, I don't want you all to think that I'm like just shamelessly cheating. We've been through this 1,000 times. I feel like once you unlock it per game, it should be unlocked for all of the game from then on. So we're going to go ahead and give ourselves a lot of free tickets here between episodes and unlock all of our foundations. And that way we can really start embracing the enterprise architecture, as mentioned before. It's really why I like to play this game. I like the design elements, and that's how we get there, is by having those unlocks. So that's what we're going to do. But we're going to do that between episodes, and next episode we are going to be back here and ready to have our new factory designed nicely. But for now, I'm going to call that the end of this episode. So thanks again for watching this brand new season of Satisfactory Update 8 here on Enterprise Architecture, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends!